Is it right for um, debtors, people with student loan debt, to expect the government to forgive their debts? Well, according to the Bible, in Ezekiel chapter 18, where God is talking about not imputing the sins of the fathers onto the sins of the sons and vice versa, um, God gives an example of a man that is just and does that which is lawful and right. And in verse 7, it talks about what that man does, what kind of life he lives and stuff. And it says that he is someone who has restored to the debtor his pledge. Um, and so, if we want to be a righteous and just person, then we ought to try to repay that which we pledged. Um, and of course, it's not right. Like, my husband and I just paid off my student loans last year. And, you know, it's just like, okay, in 2020, everybody gets their loans forgiven, but I had to pay it. That's not fair. But also, here's the other thing. What policy should be done if it were more biblical, if we were really striving for a biblical view of things, is that we shouldn't. Now it's still talking about this just man here, and it says that he hasn't given forth usury, neither hath taken any increase. So what is wrong? Something small that can be done is that the interest rates could be dropped to zero. I mean, if you're going to go all the way and say, okay, the taxpayers are going to pay back all of the student debt, um, why not just take first a minor step and just say, hey, let's make the interest rate zero? I mean, we're talking about a lot of federal student loans. The government is making money off of our student loans. I had a bunch of federal loans. My husband has federal loans, and why not drop those interest rates to zero? Um, that would be a better start. Now you say, "Oh well, Christianity is all about forgiving debtors. Like look what Jesus did." And it is true that Jesus paid the full price for our sins on the cross. God did that. But if student loan forgiveness is coming from the taxpayers, you know, that's not the government saying, "Oh, we're going to pay for it." No, that's the government saying, "No, we're going to take your money and pay for these other people." See, that's not the same as the government have generating a surplus. We're trillions of dollars in debt. It would be one thing if the government had a surplus and said, "Okay, we're going to forgive the debt." But this is a different story. This is saying, actually, we're going to take taxpayer money and pay for other people's student loans or your student loans. So it's not like, oh, forgiveness, debt forgiveness, it's so kind, like Jesus forgave everybody of their sins. Nope, this is different. This is, you know, that is like the equivalent of saying, um, I can pay for my own sins. My works are good enough to pay for my own sins and get me into heaven. That's not how it works. Jesus's works are good enough. Mine aren't. My works could never be good enough. And to say that the taxpayers should pay off student loans is the same thing as saying the sinner is good enough to work their way into heaven through their own works. So, that is a biblical view of student loans right there. Ezekiel chapter 18. And there's other verses that talk about um, paying back your debts and everything like that. So, we should strive and want to pay our debts back. And this idea that student loan forgiveness is biblical is crazy, and it's from people that have not read the Bible. Have a great day.